Welcome to today's explainer. There's this massive, multi-million-dollar mystery keeping enterprise leaders up at night right now. Companies everywhere are pouring absolute fortunes into AI, but they're struggling to actually see the ROI. So today, we're going to explore some really fascinating insights from John Checkhatch's work on integrated process excellence and see if we can figure out exactly where all that missing value is hiding.
Okay, let's dive right into this with a quote from the source material that basically hits the nail on the head. John Checkhatch writes, "The outcome is faster, better documented chaos, not ROI." Just think about that for a second. We're spending heavily on AI to automate workflows, but if those workflows are undefined and chaotic to begin with, AI doesn't magically fix them. It literally just executes your existing chaos at lightning speed. It's a really painful and incredibly expensive reality for a lot of businesses right now.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be covering the AI ROI problem, two unequal life cycles, why process comes first, the IPE deployment framework, and finally, how IPE closes the gap. Let's get into it.
And this brings us to the core thesis of our explainer today. Data plus process equals AI ROI. It's such a beautifully simple formula for a wildly complex problem. Think of data as the fuel. We all know we absolutely need it. But the process, that's the engine. Data alone doesn't produce a return, and a process alone can't scale without data. You need the deliberate architecture of both of these working together to actually convert raw information into actionable intelligence.
Section 1. The AI ROI problem.
So, the fundamental issue here is a massive structural imbalance. On one side, we have an overinvested data lifecycle. IT budgets are just overflowing to build these perfect pipelines, scrub data clean, and ensure highly governed storage. But then, on the other side, we have an underinvested process lifecycle. How does the human work actually happen day to day? Well, it's usually Bob from accounting's tribal knowledge, maybe a dusty standard operating procedure from 2015, and totally fragmented training. So when you go and deploy an AI model, it simply inherits this exact inconsistency. It gets perfect data, sure, but about a totally undocumented, messy reality.
Section 2. Two unequal life cycles. First up, let's look at the data lifecycle. Now, if you work in IT or analytics, these steps are probably deeply familiar to you. Collecting and storing data, cleaning it up, analyzing it, governing it, and eventually archiving it. And to be clear, this life cycle is absolutely necessary. It perfectly answers the question, what data do we have, and is it secure? But here is the critical blind spot. It completely fails to explain what actual work is being done with that data out in the real world. And that is exactly where the process lifecycle comes in, specifically through the Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE framework. It takes you on a journey from creating a positive environment, all the way through defining, documenting, communicating, measuring, and continuously improving. Where the data lifecycle asks what information exists, this lifecycle formally answers what your humans are actually trying to accomplish at a granular, measurable level.
Now, what's really interesting about this is when we contrast these life cycles side by side, the danger becomes super obvious. Just look at the failure modes. If you only have the data lifecycle, so clean data but no defined process, AI just automates your chaos faster. But a great process with no data, well, the AI has no fuel to run on. You absolutely need data engineering working hand in hand with process owners to avoid total disaster.
Section 3. Why process comes first.
To really understand why process has to take the lead, we need to demystify a crucial concept here: causal data architecture. This is the causal link between a key input variable, a key process variable, and a key output variable, or KIV, KPV, and KOV. Let's put that in plain English. If the input is an unpaid invoice and the process is approving it, the output is a paid bill, right? Raw data only tells an AI the bill was paid. It doesn't tell it why or how. AI can only reason about cause and effect when the data is directly attached to a specifically defined process linking that input to the output.
The source material actually gives us three structural reasons why process absolutely must lead. First, as we just discussed, data has no inherent causal structure on its own. Second, undefined processes produce inconsistent data by construction. Think about it this way. If you have 10 employees doing the exact same task 10 wildly different ways, you don't magically get one clean data set. You get data from 10 different completely unlabeled processes. It's a literal nightmare for an analyst, and no amount of data cleaning can fix that. And third, AI governance actually is process governance, which we're going to touch on in just a moment.
Section 4. The IPE deployment framework.
So how do we actually operationalize this?
Well, it starts with creating a very specific structural address for every piece of work in your company. The framework uses a 3-level process hierarchy. It goes from 1.0 area down to 1.1 activity, and then down to a specific 1.1.1 elements, like, say, actually clicking approve in a software tool. By doing this, you're giving every single unit of work, and consequently every single unit of data attached to that work, a fixed, unambiguous address in the enterprise. And AI just thrives on this kind of structured certainty.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the IPE framework locks all of this together through these specific interlocking mechanisms. But honestly, here is the absolute best part. Organizations don't actually have to start from a terrifying blank page. There are 81 pre-built, sector-specific IPE packs available. That means the foundational maps for your specific industry already exist to jumpstart this process and totally accelerate your deployment.
Section 5. How IPE closes the gap. Earlier, I mentioned that AI governance is essentially process governance, and here is exactly how that works. IP uses SMEA, which stands for Success Mode and Effects Analysis. It's an auditable risk and governance layer scored on benefit, occurrence, and mitigation. Look, if an AI denies a customer a loan, regulators and boards aren't just asking, what data did the AI use anymore? No, they want to know exactly what process it followed and who is accountable. You can only perform this kind of vital accountability check against a defined process map. It is quite literally the absolute bedrock of AI risk governance today. So, the crucial point is this. We are right back to our formula. Data is the fuel. Process is the engine. Together, they create AI ROI. True enterprise value isn't just a data problem or a process problem in isolation. It is the deliberate, architectural product of both elements working in perfect sequence. Organizations that treat process as a prerequisite are the ones whose AI will actually scale and compound in value over time.
I want to leave you all with a provocative question to take back to your teams today. Look at your current initiatives and ask yourselves, will your AI scale value, or is it just going to automate your existing inconsistency? It's time to stop pouring incredibly expensive data into undefined chaos. Build the engine first, then add the fuel. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you unlock the true value in your enterprise.